I'm so glad you made it because I cannot wait to talk about this. But before we get into it, I need to tell everybody that this is my bestie, Brooke Urick, not to be confused with Brooke You Rock, but she does rock. And she is an iconic author. And honestly, do you know anybody else who makes money selling books like as your best friend? Because I do. You might not. But you can give her some more money by downloading the book, purchasing the book, subscribing to her on all of the things, YouTube, following her on TikTok. It will all be linked below here because she has a lot of really interesting things to say. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her friend. So anyways, thank you for joining me, girl.
Gosh, stop. You're making me blush. Well, if y'all didn't know, this is the Alexis Germany Fox. She is a mother to two sets of twins. Don't ask how she did it. She's also a dating advice coach and newly a mother advice coach. So doing some mommy advice. And I think that's why we are gathered here today.
It is why we are gathered here today. So it's interesting because I think that a lot of people, when they become moms, think that they're going to lose all their non-mom friends. And I would dare say that I've become closer with non-mom friends. And I think that it's because you fully accommodate me all the time, which not even in a selfish way. I think it's very much just like a reciprocity thing, but you're like, listen, I know that you have limited time. I know you have, 4 kids, whatever. I'll come to your side of town, or what day works for you. Like, and we kind of make it work that way. And you're able to give to me and like pour into me in that way. And I love that. But we've also been having a lot of discussions because you're in your pre-potential motherhood era, right? Like you might,
Questioning.
we're questioning. I have answered the question for myself and the answer was yes. And I'm in the era, but we still like have a lot of things in common and I still want her perspective on things that I'm going through, even if it's not something she's been through, but like she's able to think about it without comparing to what she would have done, right? Like she's not like, well, if it was my kid, I would do this. Like when my kid did it, because her kid didn't do it yet. But she's able to still give me thoughtful advice. So I say all that to say that one of the biggest things that I've noticed in my journey on like modern motherhood, if you will, is that a lot of people say these days that there is no village, right? So growing up, you always hear like, oh, it takes a village to raise a child, right? Like, are you familiar with that phrase?
I certainly am.
Okay. And we need our village, we need our circle, we need our friends, our community, whatever word we want to use. But a lot of people say, especially in America, that the village is dead. Okay. And in many cases, sure, that's true in a way because we don't live in literal villages anymore. However, you're not just guaranteed or entitled to a village. You have to be intentional and potentially build your own if the village you expected isn't there or already in place. And to me, that means that you have to pour in when you're able to. You've got to pour into the village when you can, if you expect anybody to ever pour into you. So, are you familiar with Emily Oster?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so Emily Oster is an economist, okay? That's like, she's an economist, but she's like an economist turned parenting advisor, so to speak. I don't know. So her whole thing is that she uses data for everything as an economist would, right? And so somewhere along the lines, she started using data to like assess and give advice or predict results of like different things as it pertains to like pregnancy, parenting, and things like that. Okay. And she's apparently she's very controversial. Every once in a while I'll hear somebody mention her and I've never dug into it. But this one particular TikTok that I'm going to show you, it's just a clip of an interview with her, stuck out to me and I saved it. And I was like, I want to like talk to Brooke about this because as a mom, I know what my opinion on it is. And as somebody who wants to pour into a village and expects that my village then in turn pours back into my family, I know what my take on it is, but I want to let you see it. And then I just want to like, just discuss, like open forum. All right.
Well, I love all of that insight. And I think why I love like hanging out with you and your kids is because they're so good. It's really true because so then I like, obviously, we love trash reality television. And then when I see these little kids on the trash reality, they're acting crazy.
Crazy.
Like, and I'm sure your kids do act crazy or whatever, but it's like when I see that some of the children, I'm not going to mention any names, but I see them and I'm like, I wouldn't take that child to a restaurant.
Right.
So I think that's part of it too, is like training your kids, unfortunately. Same thing with like a bad dog. And like, I know we don't want to equate dogs to children or whatever, but it's
They're
like,
similar
I know some friends with bad dogs, and it's like, I don't really want to go out with that dog. Like, I don't want to bring that dog
because it's
places, you know?
embarrassing. It's
But
embarrassing.
the dog's gonna jump on me. I'm wearing white, like, it's the same kind of thing. It's like I don't want to. So I think part of why some people lose their mom friends and why maybe I've distanced myself from some moms in the past is because the kids aren't good.
Yeah.
So, and like your kids, like I can't wait until they're old enough to like do an auntie date.
Oh
Like
my
we can like
gosh.
go,
They're
like
gonna
we can
love
like
it.
go somewhere. Like I would love that. And I feel like I obviously don't have the kids, but I feel like me pouring into your kids, like that is so meaningful to me. And like obviously I love you, so like I love your kids. Like they're an
Yeah.
extension of you.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And I
that's
so
my spiel.
appreciate that, and that's like that's like really thoughtful and insightful, really, because in the comments and in other comments of things I do see people saying, well, I don't hang out with so and so because like they make everything about their kid, or like their kid is not enjoyable and whatever. And I mean, me, luckily I don't always have to bring my kids to like the girly stuff or to like when we're hanging out, but then you come to freaking soccer class. It's not even a real game, it's just a class. And when I tell you that they talked about that for the rest of the day, like TT Brook came to soccer. Like they want to tell their dad. TT Brook was there. She watched me at soccer. She said next time we can go to a restaurant, and it means a lot to them. And they're 3, so like I think they'll remember some of these moments. And obviously you'll continue your relationship with them. But I definitely remember special people in my life who were just kind of like cool people that took me to do things or showed up for me, and it's so important. And just even how you checked on me when I was going through like the harder times of like postpartum and stuff when I wasn't thriving, and you gave me grace to disappear when I disappeared, but you always still checked in like, hey girl, want to just talk on the phone? I know you can't get out, and you didn't make me feel like bad about it. Anyways, that's it. You know what? I'm going to continue
Thank
this
you.
into another episode because I think that you've really done it right, at least for me, in transitioning from like single gal friends into then like I got married and then into becoming a mom, and our relationship I think just keeps getting better. And I think that we both probably were more intentional than we even realized to like keep that going. And I think we should talk about that because I think a lot of people could benefit, a lot of women could benefit from that. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I know. I just love the girls so
Oh my
much. I
gosh,
like
they're
love
obsessed
that
with you.
they're I love that they're like talking to me a little bit more. It's almost like when you get a dog from the pound or something and like you like to warm up to you.
Yeah, just let
I
them
know all
warm
I know
up.
is dogs. All
Let
I
them
know is
warm up.
dogs.
But no, me
Yes.
and John talk about so much. Like, we know, like, we'll be like, oh, go put them in their kennel. I mean, playpen. Like, like, we love to, or like, even baby John, we call him Puppy Boy because he makes all these puppy sounds all the time. Like when he's like excited or like even when he's whining, I'm like, okay, Puppy Boy, you got to come over and see them. Actually,
Oh my gosh.
let's plan that.
What did Alexandra do yesterday? She was like,
Oh, yeah, can I do this? No. Oh, and I'm like, what? And she just
so
keeps
funny.
doing it. And it's so funny, but also I'm like, girl, you better stop because your daddy gonna get you. Like, I'll let it
Oh my
slide, but
gosh.
he doesn't let as much stuff slide as I do. So,
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry, we could talk about
we
them
could talk about them
forever.
all day, but it's fine. All right, so I'm gonna show this TikTok, and then we will talk about it. And
Okay.
I'm like ever so prepared, as you know. I'm going to share my screen. We are gonna do. I had to look up an Emily Oster summary so I could explain her to you succinctly.
Maybe I wouldn't. She
Okay, can you
looks
see my screen?
familiar. Yes, I can see it.
Okay, and we are going to go.
Come to that decision, and how do
Oops.
you kind of deal with the backlash?
Okay.
How did you come to that decision, and how do you kind of deal with the backlash of friends being like, why didn't you come? One of my general principles, which I was probably espousing when I was talking about this, is that you have to like decide for your family what are the things that are important. And one way to do that is to think like big picture, like what are our values and so on. And another is just to be like, what do we want our days and weekends to look like? Because if you're not happy with like Saturday and Sunday every week, or with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like you won't be happy. And for our family, this idea of like prioritizing some time that the 4 of us can spend together that is family time, like that's very central. And like that's like not everybody's thing, but like that's our thing. And once we have that, it sort of rules out many other things. So it's not that I'm like categorically opposed to the concept of a birthday party. And like if there were a Sunday afternoon birthday party, which is a time in which like we don't generally do things as a family, I would be happy to let my kid go if they wanted. But if the birthday party is Sunday morning, which is a time that like we like to go hiking or do other stuff together, it's just no. And I think for me, like that kind of simplicity is so important. It's just like we decided a thing that was important and this other thing is less important because we said this first thing was the most important. And then it turns out if you just tell people I can't come, it's basically fine.
Okay.
That is interesting. Do you want my hot take first?
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to that, I get what she's saying. And of course, like people have to do what's right for their family. But I would do what the kids want because like, and of course I don't have any kids, so I don't know if and this is all speculative.
Of course, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. So, I mean, if like, I'm thinking of your kids, right?
Yeah.
So like if Alexandra and Athena were like, oh, we want to go, they're going to the ball pit. Like, oh, like we really want to go. Like, just like you said about them talking about me going to soccer class for an hour, like they would be talking about that all day. Like they would really enjoy themselves. And it's like, it's not really about what the mom wants to enjoy. It's about what the kids want to enjoy. And it's like, yeah, obviously you like having time with the four of you as a family and you do that every Sunday morning. But if there is one day a year when they get to go to a party and enrich themselves in other ways, like especially because your kids don't go to daycare right now, so it's like that's their opportunity to like engage socially that's not at the park or whatever. So I don't know. I feel like I would make what they want a priority over like what I want because it's like they don't necessarily know the difference between like going for a hike or whatever, but they would if they like did it, you know?
Yes.
I don't know.
No. So with what you said with that point is exactly what I said. That was my exact point. So I'm not even going to reiterate it because agreed. It's like, okay, yes, generally speaking, Sunday's family day, that's fine. But like if a birthday party comes up, why can't they do it that day, like that week? Like, why is it just we don't do? And I also, the way that I like viewed her in that interview was like that she was also kind of saying they just don't do birthday parties like damn near period. You know what I mean? Because then she didn't mention Saturday at all, which is when most birthday parties are. So I'm like, what y'all doing on Saturday? And then everybody in the comments was like, there aren't Sunday afternoon birthday parties. Like that would be a very big rarity. So 100% agree on that and like all the things that you said. But then furthermore, if you and your kids don't go to anybody else's birthday party, who do you expect anybody coming to yours and to your child's? Now, maybe they don't have birthday parties. I don't know. But I'm like, and that's where I'm tying into the village piece, right? Because granted, sometimes the birthday parties are on days that like don't suit you or at a location you don't really feel like going to. And especially when you have little kids, you stay at the birthday party, you know, so then you have to make the small talk and do all those things. But it's important. Like if we get invited to a birthday party, I try really hard to make sure that we're there because I don't want that little kid to be there and see no kids. And there's a big thing right now with people just not showing up to things, any event, all types of events, not just birthday parties for children, but birthday parties and dinners for each other or other events that we invite people to. It's like people are like, yeah, I'll be there, and then just don't show up. So I'm like, if we say we're going, I really try to go, unless obviously there's been times when someone's been sick or whatever. But other than that, like we're there because we're going to pour in to the community, even if it's not that we're getting like anything directly back from it. So aside from the fact that the kids want to go and it's going to be fun for them and good for them to celebrate someone else, to learn that it's somebody else's day, to give a gift to somebody else, right? Because like that's all a part of it. It's not just go have fun and eat sugar. It's learning you're not going to get a present. You're not going to blow out the candles. You're going to give something to somebody that they're going to get to enjoy. All of those things are important as well. And it's important to know the people, the parents of the kids that are going to be your kids' friends, that eventually you might let your kid go to their house or whatever, but you got to pour into your community, you know? And that just rubbed me the wrong way and then I just felt bad for the kids. Like then they're going to be like the weird kids who are never at the party. And then on Monday, everyone's like, that was so cool. We got balloon animals and had a baby rave or whatever. And then their kid is like, oh, like I was hiking like I do every Sunday. Like, great. Right?
Yeah. That you have brought up a lot of good points, and even like deeper than I went with it, because my thought was just like, well, who cares if like you're supposed to have family time or whatever? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. It might be a little bit different if everyone's working all the time and it's like that's the only time you get to spend as it's like
But
okay,
it's not a
then
birthday
maybe
party every week. Like you could
that's
even
what I was
choose.
thinking.
Like I get like yes, there might be a lot of birthday parties because these days at a lot of schools they make them invite everybody if you're going to hand out invitations at school. So there could be a lot of options, but it's like okay, your top friends, we prioritize their parties. You're not going to go to every party. I mean, I can understand that. It could also get expensive with
Yeah.
gifts and whatever. But to say like we don't do birthday parties,
Yeah, that's just wild. But I think what you mentioned about like the community aspect, like that's a level deeper that I didn't really think about. But like you do want to go and introduce yourself to these other mothers and whatever. It's like they're not going to be your bestie, but like that is certainly how you're going to build community
yeah,
and maybe get a play date every once in a while.
exactly.
And then you get a twofer. Because if you get a play date, then you get both of them gone, but you only have to have one kid come to you if they do a play date the other way. So, like, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. But also the other thing about not having anyone at your birthday party, if you
Yeah.
don't go to other people's birthday, and the other thing you said about the enjoying the day for someone else. And I think that is a concept that would be lost on a child who doesn't really get to go on any birthday parties, especially one if their whole family and life and everything revolves around that child and they don't even understand that like other people have birthdays and like other
Exactly.
people have things going on. Like sometimes it's not your sister or your mom's birthday, it's someone completely different. But I think the joy of gift giving and the joy of like doing for others and celebrating others, like it, especially if that's a good friend of yours, like it truly is a joy. And
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of when I was invited to this fourth grader's birthday party and I was a third grader. And
Big
yes,
stuff.
we went to the beauty school because her sister was in beauty school. So we all like got our hair done in the
Wait,
beauty
that's such
school.
a good birthday party
Isn't
idea.
that a good idea?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna write that one down.
Yeah, it was so cute, and I just remember like I'll literally never forget that they like took Polaroid pictures of us with our hair done
My
and all of
makeovers.
this. I got her the Samantha Mumba CD, so really setting the mood for the era. But
Yes.
like I'll like never forget that birthday party. Like you know what I mean? Like there are core memories, especially when it's like something cool or like whatever. And I think like having the twins at the birthday party, like that would be fun for anyone. It's like not everyone even knows a set of twins or like they've only seen them on TV or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Well,
not
it's
to make
funny
a
that
spectacle out of your
well,
children.
they're a spectacle. No, it's funny. One of the last birthday parties we went to, when the mom invited me or invited us, I said because it was for like, she has a girl. She has two girls. One of them is the age of my big twins, and one of them is the age of my little twins. So we were like pregnant at the same time, whatever. Went to middle school together, pretty crazy. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So when she sends the invite, it was like casual, like it wasn't the real invite at first. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do a birthday party X day. Like, can you make it?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I think we'll be, available." I was like, "How many of my kids do you want me to bring?" Because the place she had is also where we had our birthday party, and I know it's super expensive. So I was like, I'm not gonna expect to take up half the party with my crew. And then she's like, "Oh, they're all invited," and she was like, "But just please let me know if you decide you can't come because you guys will be like the whole party." And I was like, "Oh no, I totally get that because right then like she's giving us 4 spots." So I'm like, "No, we have to
Yeah.
go. We have to show up and show out because we're literally half the party." And so we went and it was great. It was fun to take the babies to their first birthday party.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's another thing too. It's like having the twins. I'm like, "Okay, you're giving us 2 spots at like the places where you got to pay per kid or whatever." Then that's even more
Right.
important to not have people spending all this money when you know that like you're might not gonna go. It's not like it's just at the park or something.
This like reminds me, and maybe we should do another episode on this. But
Okay.
did you see the thing about like the Build-A-Bears with the moms?
I thought about it, but I didn't know if that was like in your thing. When I told John about it, he was horrified. He was like, "What?" And I was like, "Can you imagine having those kids building Build-A-Bears and then being like, 'All right, hand them in, kids.'" That was so wrong.
Like if it was an adult birthday party and you were like going to make the lipsticks or something like that, which is obviously because I'm like, it's like, okay, we're all gonna make a lipstick for Shelly or whatever. That is something that adults can understand, but kids cannot understand that, especially they were like 7 or 8 or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Like this kid thinks they're building their own bear. And for those of you that don't know, there's like
Oh,
this
yeah.
viral TikTok with like this mother who took her, or I think it's an auntie.
Yeah,
who
the auntie
her
took the kid, even worse.
for a Build-A-Bear birthday party, and then everyone builds a bear. They all I think there wasn't there like a limit for the bear,
Yes.
but then she bought like some extra fixins or
And
whatever.
they're expensive. Those fixins will get you.
Yeah, and so the kid built the bear, and then everyone had to give their bears to the birthday girl. I'm just like, now this little girl has like a room full of bears, like one of those doll rooms from the 90s. Like, who the
Yeah.
heck needs 8 bears?
When I
Like,
tell you I'm constantly purging the stuffies in this house because you don't need that many. And I'm like, first of all, if that was what you were going to do, you should have pre-announced it. Like, we're going to, like, the party is, we want to make them for her. Why? I don't know. But then, like, you should be prepared if your kid wants one to pay money to have one or whatever. But yeah, I was like, that's not a birthday party. Like, that was just like, we're going to build a bear and you made all these kids come and give you bears. Like, I mean, I was horrified.
and for them to not know that in the beginning and then spring it on them at the end.
Yeah, because I'm like, even knowing it, they still wouldn't really probably think it. Like, it wouldn't stick with them.
No.
But to spring it on them is even worse. Like, and they did it like after the Build-A-Bear portion, they had to go to the house for cake. When they got to the house, then the mom started collecting the bears. And then the auntie was like, wait, why is she taking the bears or whatever? And then she like said, yeah, like, thank you all for making bears for her or whatever. And she's like, kids were like crying and stuff. And I was like, and so then she had to take her niece back to Build-A-Bear to get her own Build-A-Bear. And you know that like that wasn't going to be the case for everybody. So some of those kids were just devastated. And it's easy from the outside to be like, well, it's not anything to be devastated about. But like at that age, it is devastating, you know? And
I mean,
Build-A-Bear.
I think I would be devastated.
Oh, I would be
Even
devastated.
if I went to my own Build-A-Bear birthday party or build a something, and then I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like, it just
that
doesn't.
doesn't make any sense. And yeah, and you know, when you're at Build-A-Bear, they make it so special that you're creating your special friend. So that would make it even worse. Like from the kid's perspective, you're like whispering to the heart and putting it in and, you know, doing all of these things.
I've never done a Build-A-Bear, so I don't know.
When the girls turned 2, we took them to Build-A-Bear to do it. And I was like so into it. And John was like, oh, you're so into this. I was like, yeah, I never did it before. And he's like, oh, you never went to Build-A-Bear. I'm like, well, by the time it was like a thing, like it would have been a little bit absurd for me to be doing it. And so, yeah, so I got to do it with the girls.
Yeah, I think I was a little too old for when it came out, you know? Like, I think I always saw it and thought like, no, I don't know if I want that because I'm
Yeah.
like an adult. Or not an adult, but I was like an older, like a 13-year-old.
Exactly. Like I'm a teenage adult now and I'm not going to be over here building bears for myself. But yeah, so anyways, people just, these birthday parties are getting out of hand with some of the things that are happening.
Also, it's like, okay, like I get that, you know, they paid $35 per bear or whatever, like, but isn't that just kind of what you do when you have a birthday party?
Yeah.
Is like you like pay for the or if like you're gonna if I'm an adult and I'm gonna go like have a party at a restaurant, wouldn't I be responsible for the, well, obviously someone else would probably be paying for it, but
Sure.
wouldn't I be, or someone in my cohort be responsible for the tab? I wouldn't be like going around and collecting money from everyone. They would probably just give me money because that's the kind of friends I have.
Exactly.
But that just is not like when you throw the party, you foot the bill.
Yes, like when
that's what
you throw a
party
birthday
is.
party at these places, like, yes, you're paying. And so you decide like what the package is or whatever now. And I believe this person also didn't even do like whatever the Build-A-Bear birthday party package is. So they just like showed up as a group and like did Build-A-Bear. So that made it even a little bit more like awkward or whatever. But that actually reminds me of something. So this other lady I saw like after the Build-A-Bear thing, she was on there and she was horrified when she was going to have her kid's birthday party that she didn't realize that people were going to show up having expected like a party package and it was like a Chuck E. Cheese or something. So then the people were mad that they like surprised or whatever, that they had to like buy their kids their own pizza and tokens or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, that's what you do. She's like, how come nobody told me I had to pay for that? I'm like, You never, so then it's like, well, okay, so clearly no one ever threw them a birthday party when they were like a kid or whatever, to like not even know that that's the etiquette behind it. So it's just very interesting all around. There's a lot to learn, I guess. Like everybody doesn't know everything.
Yeah. Well, did I send you that meme that was like, what's the most unhinged thing you tell your kids? And one of them was like, I told them you have to be invited to Chuck E. Cheese, so you can't just go all the time. Like, you have to be invited.
That's what it is. It's you got to be invited, or I say Chucky's sleeping.
There's the velvet rope.
Yep, that's what there's something. Yeah, Chucky is he's usually sleeping, or he's like visiting his mommy. So like we can't go to Chucky every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's different reasons for why we can't, because Chucky is Mickey Mouse's brother. So sometimes Chucky goes to visit Mickey.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. There's the lore
Yeah, I
there.
made that up. Yeah, they were like, oh,
I love that.
okay. So, anyways, at the end of the day, if you want community, you have to put into community, no matter what that looks like for you. And sometimes that means you don't go hiking and you go to the kid's birthday party.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's so wild to think that you wouldn't go to the birthday party, but whatever. That's neither here
That's
nor there.
neither here nor there,
Like
but
if I'm invited to a party, honey, like I'm probably going. Like, why wouldn't I
I
go?
know it's gonna be fun, and it's like for the kids too. Like it's like a freaking outing that you don't even have to plan or pay
Yeah,
for in
of
most
course.
cases. Like that's even better.
You just have to build the
You
bear.
just have to build the bear and give it up. All right. Well, I think that wraps this one up. So subscribe, comment, let us know what we should talk about next, and we'll see you later.
Bye.